Traveling can be so exciting and so new, but it can also get really expensive really fast. But with some smart planning and a few travel tips, you can travel and spend less money without sacrificing the quality of your trip. So I'm going to share some tips for how you can make your next travel adventure a budget-friendly one. And one of the things you want to do whenever possible is to plan your trip well in advance. And here are some of the things you want to consider. Book your travel accommodations early for the lowest fares and to ensure availability. Airline and train tickets tend to be the cheapest when you book between 4 months and 3 weeks before your departure date, because those last minute bookings are going to cost you the most. Create a detailed itinerary for your trip, including any tours or activities you might want to do. And this way, you'll know ahead of time how much time and money you're going to need for the activities themselves, as well as the transportation to those activities. But make sure that you keep some wiggle room in your budget and in your schedule for any unexpected or maybe just some last minute changes. Make sure you have all the necessary travel documents that you need, such as passports and visas, and that they're up to date. Usual passport processing can take between 8 to 11 weeks. And then if you need to expedite it because you waited just too close to your trip to apply for it, it reduces the processing time to 5 to 7 weeks, but it costs an extra $60. And that's on top of the passport fee itself, which could run you up to $160, depending on whether you're getting a passport card or a passport card and a book. And you definitely want to make sure that you have that planned out well in advance. The next thing is to be flexible with your travel dates. Now, flexibility with your travel dates can offer so many benefits, such as finding cheaper flights. And if you can travel during off-peak months or off-season months, which is in the US primarily November to March, then the cost of your flights and hotel accommodations are going to be significantly lower. Then, if you decide you want a little frugal splurge, maybe on an airline like Frontier, you might be able to upgrade to stretch seating and you'll get perks like more leg room, extra reclining, early boarding, or maybe you can parlay the savings into upgrading to a hotel suite for less than you would normally pay. Another benefit to being flexible with your travel dates is that you can avoid crowds. Popular tourist destinations can be crowded during peak travel times, but if you can visit when most people are staying at home, then you can have a more peaceful vacation with less hustle and bustle, especially if you go to popular family spots like Disney World. And if your kids are maybe in virtual school or you don't mind them missing some days of school, the best time to go is during the school year, or at least in August when a lot of schools are back in session. You'll get the most for your Disney dollars because you'll have a better chance of riding your favorite rides instead of waiting in line for hours for the ride. Also, more availability is a benefit. If you have a specific destination in mind, then being flexible with your travel dates can increase your chances of finding available and desirable accommodations and activities. Now, this next one is something that I kind of mentioned in the last tip, but if you can swing it, travel during the off season. Now, keep in mind, the off season can vary depending on your destination. For instance, if you're traveling to Europe, then their off season is similar to that of the US and falls between October to March because it's cold during those months. But if you go to somewhere like Egypt, those same months, October to March, are their peak season because the temperatures are warm and more comfortable. So it's important to do your research on that before booking your trip as well. Now, when you do choose off-season travel, you want to keep in mind that some popular attractions may have limited hours or might be closed during the off season, so you'll have to find different kinds of activities. Also, as I mentioned, weather can be a factor during the off season, so make sure that you pack accordingly. If you do use a credit card, you should check to see if it offers rewards for travel purchases, because a lot of credit cards will offer points or miles for every dollar spent on travel, which can add up pretty quickly. Years ago, I had an American Express card, which I maintained very well by only spending what I could afford to pay off in 1 month. And they ended up sending me a free travel certificate, which paid for my first trip across the country to California. So if you do use a credit card, make sure you're fully aware of any potential travel benefits that they may offer. Tip number 5 is to use discount airlines. Now, most airline fares are high because they're charging you for things like Wi-Fi, carry-on, and checked luggage, snacks, and movies. But what if you just have a single backpack or you plan on just reading a book during your flight? A discount airline will allow you to a la carte your experience, if you will, so that you're only paying for what you need. Just be sure to research the airline's baggage policy in advance to avoid any unexpected fees. And most will let you bring a backpack sized bag on the plane for free as long as it meets the set dimensions to fit under the seat in front of you. And last year, I went to Germany for a week and packed everything in this one book bag, no luggage fees for me. And I'll show you how I did that later on in the video. And when you use discount airlines, you do want to be prepared for the fact that it is a completely no frills experience, since amenities like free snacks and drinks or free Wi-Fi may not be offered. But you can just always bring your own snacks from home and download some movies to your phone or your tablet from Netflix or Disney Plus before you board the plane. Consider booking directly through the airline's website, since third-party booking sites may sometimes add additional fees. Then lastly, you just want to check for any promotions or deals that an airline may be offering to maximize your savings. Now, tip number 6 is a pack light. Packing light is going to help you avoid those extra carry-on and baggage fees. Make a packing list before you start packing, and just make a list of all the essential items that you know you need to bring. And this is going to help you avoid overpacking, but ensure that you don't forget anything important in the process. Choose versatile clothing. Just pack clothing items that can be mixed and matched to create different outfits. For instance, pack only one bottom for every 2 shirts, and then plan to wear the same outfit coming home that you wore going on your trip. And this is going to help you save some space and avoid packing too many clothes. Wear your bulkiest items while you travel. So if you need to take a jacket, wear it on the plane. And if you need to take a pair of sneakers and a pair of sandals, wear the sneakers while you're traveling and then pack the sandals. This just saves space in your luggage, allowing you to use a smaller, no-fee bag. Consider budget accommodations like hostels or Airbnbs. Now, some years ago, I was planning to travel to Massachusetts, but I didn't know anyone there and I had very little money. And I ended up coming across a hostel, which at the time I thought was pronounced hostel, and I know I'm not the only one. But this particular hostel was a 100-year-old farmhouse in a suburb of Boston, and it was rustic with a huge fireplace and handmade quilts on the bed, and it was only $18 a night. And as is characteristic of many hostels, it was for me such a beautiful opportunity to meet and get to know other travelers and interesting people. And many hostels offer communal areas where guests can socialize, cook meals together, and share travel experiences. And if you're a more adventurous person that likes interacting with new people and you don't mind sharing bathrooms, a hostel is a tremendously economical option. Now, Airbnbs will allow you to stay in the home of someone who lives in the area that you're traveling to, and it gives you a slightly more authentic experience of the city or town that you're visiting. Plus, you can often save a lot of money by cooking your own meals, since the Airbnb is typically an apartment or a house, which of course has a full kitchen. And recently, me and 8 of my family members spent a week in Florida, and we rented a 5-bedroom, 3-bath Airbnb with full-size kitchen, game room, private enclosed pool and spa, washer and dryer, free Wi-Fi, and it was only for $200 a night. It was a fabulous deal, and we had a great time. Now, both hostels and Airbnbs can be significantly cheaper than hotels, which allows you to stretch your travel budget further and potentially travel for even longer periods of time. Now, of course, it's important to do your research and read reviews before booking any accommodations, and just look for places with good ratings and positive reviews from previous guests to help ensure that you're going to have a more comfortable and safe stay. Tip number 8 is to use public transportation instead of taxis or rental cars. Now, in cities where it's readily available, public transportation can be really cost effective. Taking the bus, the subway, or train is usually going to present a significant savings over renting a car or taking a taxi, and you can still get to most of the places that you need to go. Number one, you'll eliminate gasoline and car rental insurance costs, and there's not going to be a need for you to pay for parking. Taking public transportation also lends itself to a more authentic cultural experience, which allows you to interact with locals and get a feel for the city's vibe and the way that natives navigate the area. Now, my husband and I went to Mexico for the first time in 2020, and we took public transportation instead of taxis, and it was very interesting, to say the least. And if you have even a little bit of a sense of adventure, this could be a great money-saving option for you. Number 9 is to look for free activities and attractions. Just check out local events and festivals. There's a lot of cities and towns have free events throughout the year, from musical festivals to cultural celebrations. And these events can be a great way to experience the local culture and meet new people. Visit museums and galleries on free days. A lot of museums and galleries offer free admission on certain days of the week or the month. And if you're traveling to someplace like Washington, D.C., for instance, all of the Smithsonian museums are free, and that includes about 17 different museums. Just do your research ahead of time and plan your visit accordingly. Take a walking tour of the city. Walking tours can be a great way to explore a new place and learn about its history and its culture. And along the walking tour, you might even discover another attraction that you might be able to add to your itinerary. Just look online ahead of time for free walking tours, or you can call the local tourist office to see if they offer any. Explore nature. A lot of parks and nature reserves offer free admission and are a great way to get some fresh air and exercise during your visit. Just look for hiking trails, scenic drives, and other outdoor activities in the area. Ask residents for recommendations, whether it's your hotel receptionist, a waiter at a restaurant, or a friendly passerby. Natives to an area can often provide the best recommendations for things to do and places to see. And they may even suggest some hidden gems that you wouldn't have found otherwise. Explore some of the neighborhoods instead of just sticking to only the main tourist areas. Just venture out just a little bit, and you'll often find interesting shops, cafes, and restaurants that are frequented by area residents. And sometimes the best experiences are the ones that are a little bit off the beaten path. So don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone just a little and try something new. But as I said, in tip number one, do your research on the destination thoroughly so you can be prepared for the most enjoyable, safe, and budget-friendly travel experience possible. If you found any value in this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you aren't subscribed already. And I'll see you guys next time. Happy traveling!